Hi, I'm Anthony Casey, and welcome to episode 5 of Training Talk and Truth. So welcome to episode 5 of Training Talk and Truth. I'm here with Kevin Casey, and he's my own brother, and he's here to talk about his experience with GAA for the last 15 years of playing it. Talk a little bit about Irish culture and also music and food, anything to do with Irish culture a bit. Mm-hmm. But first, for people who don't know exactly what Gaelic football is, can you explain the basics of it?
Gaelic football is essentially it's a hybrid between soccer and rugby. Ball, 15 players on the field, lined out, always the same, 3 in full back line, 3 to half back line, 2 midfielders, 3 and a half forward line, 3 in the full forward line, and then you have your keeper. So ball's thrown in the middle, 2 teams compete for the ball, sets of 4 players in the middle, they're competing for the throw. And what you have then is you're handling the ball, so you're passing with your fist or with your foot. Every 4 steps you have to get in a solo or a hop.
And it's one of the only field games where there's no offside rule as well, actually, funny enough.
True, but there is a square ball rule.
Okay.
So if you have a player inside the small yard box, the 6 yard box, if you have a player inside there, that player can't enter that box until the ball has actually gone through.
Right.
So he can't be standing in on the keeper's goal and waiting for the ball to come in. So
yeah.
In between that, then you have your goalpost. So you have one point for kicking the ball over the bar, and in between the 2 bars. And that was your goal, then it's 3 points.
Yeah.
So 70-minute match, 35 minutes aside.
And tell me, how did you get into it, and what age did you start into it?
Started when I was 9. One of my best mates in school at the time was playing for the local club. He used to tell me, we go down training Saturday mornings, we do a bit of kicking around, not much, just a bit of crack really. No, it was Craig Kelly. So said, I'll give it a go. And the school was doing as well, coming to one school, which was great in the primary school to keep me going. So that started. Me and Daniel, my brother, brought down along. Bit iffy at the start, kind of get to know new people, because you do know 1 or 2 from school, but essentially the rest of the team, no clue.
We almost would have played it a little bit. You probably would have had the basic of the skill or what it was about a little bit. We would have watched it at home. Yeah. Would have kicked around the ball a good bit. You would 3 brothers. We would have kind of had that.
Yeah, brought to the games as well.
Brought to the games. Yeah.
Fortunately, I would like to take up hurling. Completely different sport. I won't get into that now, but very fast paced. But
that's the fastest land sport actually. Isn't it? Also Gaelic games.
And to know as well on the actual sport, it's an amateur sport. Yeah. The guys we watch on the TV, they don't get paid for it.
No.
They get up at their 7 in the morning, half 6 in the morning, train in the gym, go to work, and then come home and train on pitch. So
and it's great that it's still live and playing. You're still playing.
Still playing. Yeah.
And you also played soccer for a while.
I did, yeah.
What made you carry on the GAA over soccer?
I think what happened was we got to a stage where when I was playing it was every year, so it was under 10s, then it was under 11s, then it was under 12s, and I went up to under 14s, and that was a jump then to under 16s, completely different kettle of fish. A few of the lads I played with moved on to different sports. I didn't fully get on with a lot of the lads I played on the older team. Unfortunately, I dropped it. Now I went to go back playing 18. The problem with that is when you're playing GAA, you're physical, so when the ball's coming to you in GAA, you're competing with your shoulder and the player. There's a bit of wrestling around within the rules, obviously. But when soccer came and someone gave a long ball in the top, and I kind of gave the defender a shove, and he hit the ground, and it was a free. It's a different mindset. Not that it's still physically quite a tough sport, but it's not. There's no physicality between getting better at your marker. It's all fitness.
There are some similarities. Like I suppose you're looking for a goal. Maybe it's foot skill and marking, that kind of thing. It's all similar, but obviously the rugby influence on Gaelic football from its origins. Yeah, it's a different game.
And even if you look at the evolution between GAA, say in the 90s compared to GAA now, physicality has gone up a lot, but just because of the injuries that players are picking up, it's just a little bit. There's some head injuries, and so they kind of have to look at the rules. So it is, you find playing the difference is, I find, is the major difference between Division 1 teams and Division 4 teams. The physicalities in the Division 4 teams of the 90s sport. You know, go out and give them a dig, you know, go out and get the better of them. Division 1 teams don't play that. They're up with the rules, you know, you can't do that, you can't get away with that. You have to be more skilled football for Division 1 than physically able. You know?
Yeah, because you do notice the difference between GAA players and soccer players. You know, their upper body is much more built because they have to contend with that clash of shoulders. Probably a guy with a bigger frame or whatever. But there is also an evolution of your training that I've seen since your kids, that where your training was a lot of ball work and on the pitch play. Now there's also, in a lot of Gaelic teams, they play they bring boxing elements and weights into it a bit and more stuff like that, don't they?
Yeah. We were start this year. We were down in St Michael's boxing club, and we were getting put through our, put to the test. And this was January, February training. This before we went on the pitch. This was circuit training. You would find that you're coming back after Christmas, want to get back into it, and you think I can. I still have some of my physicality. I didn't go over the top at Christmas, but that's a different kettle of fish altogether. Your push-ups, you're straight into burpees, then you're into running on the spot, and then just when you finish one round, you think, as normal, say 2 years ago, your manager would say, right, lads, a minute break. There's no stopping. I mean, you finish your round, back to the start again, with another 2 rounds of it, and the only thing what gets you through when you're looking at the fella beside you, and he's sweating as much as you are. You kind of say,
you push forward.
Yeah, it's kind of a mental challenge at the same time as encouraging him. You also want to say, I'm not bowing out before him.
That's what we also touched on with the podcast with Quinn. The army mentality. When you're in a group of guys, everyone else is suffering through it as well with you, and you kind of don't want to let them down. You don't want to let yourself down, and you push through it. But also hydration is a big thing as well. I remember you saying, you were the first one to tell me, you want to be drinking water, sipping water the day before you're planning a big jog in the morning or like that, or before anything. Hydration is key. You do see it an awful lot, and even keep your mind sharp. People drink an awful lot of water just to hydrate the whole system.
Boost your system. One mistake a lot of people make is on the morning of when you get up and it's a really hot day, and say yesterday was raining, but now the match day is on, and people start guzzling in the water. What you can actually do is you can actually pump too much water into your body, and now there is a serious case of it where they can actually, a lot of people do it when they go out swimming, and they actually find themselves gasping for air because they've actually overloaded on water.
It also can give you stitches if you're loading up straight away before playing, isn't it? Also, I was looking up a lot of our dad would have played a bit of GAA. I didn't play it an awful lot. You and Dan played it. And I know you're laughing at the story you're going to think of. My career GAA was cut a bit short.
Very short, yeah.
Do you want to tell that story? Or you probably witnessed it, I think.
I had a sideline view of it, you were running up the line, ball in hand.
It wasn't on long, I'd never really started.
Technique of running was a little bit strange, but boots were kind of left and right, but you took that hopper, the solo one, went up too far in the air, and your man kind of just tapped it over your head. He came up the field, and in fairness to you, caught up with him. But what you done after then wasn't even in the 90s rules of GAA. You pulled his ponytail and he hit the deck.
We shouldn't have had a ponytail. That was all the lesson. He took on that day. And I could retire then because he learned his lesson. But I was looking up with genetics and families who are playing sports, different types of genetics. I read a lot about fast twitch and slow twitch kind of muscle groups, which lets more oxygen in. There's certain people who are fast twitch who are better sprinters. Who slow twitch kind of muscle groups let more oxygen in and they're better long distance running. There's a lot more you can read now. It's the same thing with your evolution of your training, and you're saying the injuries. They know an awful lot more now, about people, and they can do a lot of tests on them, and they know who's good in what position, and
sports science.
Sports science. It's becoming a big thing. A lot of people are getting into it. And, in one way you look at it, sometimes I'll be honest, when I was kind of like, that sounds like an easy job kind of in a way, but it is hugely important, isn't it? And it is very interesting. If you knew your sports science you'd be a much healthier person. It'd be very hard to avoid all that.
But it's the same. If you had a manager who, say, brought your team from underage all the way up, it's the key elements were there at the start. You had a full team, and these players work well together. a lot of the time a manager can get a praise for something that he's not really doing. You know, he's going out telling the lads, "Go on, do what you done last week."
Yeah.
As the players on the field, then you come now with the new batch of players and the new managers who have the sports science.
Yeah.
And they kind of, people start pointing the finger at the older ones, going, you know, the sports science is working, what they're talking about is working, and they start becoming then. They start shoving their players into these sports science, and they've never done it before. You know, older players.
It's true. Yeah. It's a lot like the same concept of, you know, the lads who sit at the high stool of the bar and shout at the TV what the lads should be doing, even though the lads are playing 20 odd years.
We're all guilty of that.
Yeah, we are all guilty of that. That's true. But we'll pull it back to how GAA originated, how far back it goes, because I want to show also how it spread out culturally. Gaelic was illegal in Ireland under British law, under the Penal law in the 1600s, and it was in a bid to eradicate the Irish culture.
Yeah.
But only this week I bumped into a guy, Achilles Hades, he was known as the
Baghdad
bomber, yeah. And I was in Castle del Sol, he served me, and I had the Dublin jersey on, and he says, "Oh, you're from Dublin, yeah, well they make it 5-year-old this year," and he's the other people are from Laois. He goes, "Oh, the Queen's Garden," and, you know, he knew all the stuff, he knew all the colours, and he said they play their league in Spain, and Madrid are their Dublin, he said, their population, and he says, basically just saying that, you know, even his jersey's on wheels, he paid 80 quid for it, and he was, you know, but he knew everything about Ireland. He hadn't been there. He did a show on Pat Kenny, he did a little segment there with Pat Kenny, but you know, it was great to see he was so passionate about it, and all his friends were, and you know, they weren't from Ireland, but they were carrying it on, and it was great to see, because you know, I thought twice will I wear the jersey when I'm abroad, you know, being that stereotypical guy or whatever, but it's great to see when you bump into these guys.
But it's, see, like, I know a lot of people who went to, say, Abu Dhabi or America, Dubai, and it's the Irish culture. When they go abroad, you know, like, you're going thousands of miles across, you know, when you want to keep something at home, something in culture, and obviously someone got a brain by him and said, "Why don't we start this going here and on?" And they have their own leagues, they have their own. Like, I looked there during the week on Instagram, and Leitrim had just beaten Lancashire by a point. Yeah, you know, and you're kind of going, like, you kind of forget, but like, they're GAA players, you see them, like I said, Conley and them, and they go over to the States and they get paid over there.
Yeah.
And there is a little bit of kind of going, do we want that in here? If you get that into Ireland, you really put it on the sport, it's going to take it out of it, you know. Lads are getting up and doing their training for dedication to their club or to their county. You don't want them to just do it for the pay, you know.
Another aspect of that as well, recently, the last few years, a lot of the games aren't televised on the national stations, which is frustrating, I find, you know, when you, like, big games, you know, league games, and you want to see it, and you're looking up a few days up to it, not going to be televised, we'll show it back on the Sunday game.
Fair coverage, yeah.
Yeah, and you're kind of saying, well, like, not the shite that's on TV in its place. Yeah. We're only recording a match today. That's why. It's kind of like you can watch it on Sky Sports Extra, on Sky Sports 2, or, you know, you have to go down to the pub, and, you know, you're kind of thinking, what's going on here? You know, it took a lot out of it, I found. Now, I know it probably did a lot for money wise, probably brought the clubs up a bit. I know there's a case probably there to be made. It's just for the average guy who loves the sport, and for the elf that's sitting at home who wants to watch his Gaelic, he always has done for years. It was a bit harsh, you know, it was a bit tough.
We're paying the TV license, you know, and the money's obviously going to these companies to support the RTE, whatever they put on. And when you want to sit down and watch a match, and Coronation Street is on, it was on Wednesday night, you know, catch up.
And we repeat it anyway,
no one wants to see that, you know.
And not Irish people either, you know. But what is funny though is when it did transfer over to Sky Sports, you had a lot of reaction videos online of Hurling, and they were quite funny.
Murder hockey, that's what they call it.
Yeah. So do you think that I think you learn lessons kind of from that sport? Do you think they transfer and help you go in life? Because, you know, from a young age playing under nines, you have this discipline to get out there a couple of times a week, and they take it seriously. It's not just an underground game. Like, everyone takes it seriously. All the adults around you take it seriously. Sometimes a bit too seriously. But do you think it helped in terms of health benefits growing up, or teamwork from that age?
Absolutely. Like, you look at it when you're under nines and there's everyone else is 9 around you, but fortunately for me at that time, I was one of the tallest on the team. So I was put in the middle of the park, which is, you kind of seeing everything, you naturally become a leader then.
Yeah.
So I was captain for maybe 3-4 years on the trot,
Yeah.
and you get big into it. When the players around you see you on the ground after losing the game and there's tears in their eyes, they naturally kind of think either something wrong, that I'm not that dedicated, or I'm missing something, and that does stand to you. So you start getting team leading skills then. You start telling people where to go, but you're not pointing the finger at them. You're not saying the ball's in the back of the net, that's your fault, Johnny, in front there. You kind of say, come, let's lift the head, get out of the hole we're in, we put ourselves into it, dig deeper, go again. And a lot of times it did work, but then you're looking at teamwork and skills. You go into a job, any job, you don't want to be the one who comes in and starts pushing lads around, and all of a sudden, people in the office going, who's this fella, who do you think he is? This is not a GAA pitch. So there is some things you take away, some things you don't.
Yeah, I suppose that's true as well. You can think about that. When you're on a GAA pitch, all you think about is GAA. It can be easier when you're in work you're in there for such a long time. The GAA is only 35 minutes, you're at it, 35 minutes you're back at it. When you're in work, you're there for the day, and everything else seeps in as well, and you can sometimes lose your way in your thoughts. But in the GAA pitch, you have to be disciplined and focused on it, even at that young age. But you read a lot actually growing up as well, didn't you? Do you think that helped in? You still read a lot?
Gone off it, but I'm starting to get back into reading. It's one of the things I regretted dropping. I think it was partly because I had to wear glasses. I didn't want to wear glasses. I took them off for a while, which would have affected my eyesight from reading, and I would have kind of put the books down. But I did find it helps your imagination as a young child. You don't grow up with just, I play football, I go to school, or I watch TV, or I play PlayStation, which is something I still do, but that's just, hobby, something to do. But when you're reading books, you start picking up new words, bigger words that maybe you haven't learned yet in school. You kind of ask mum or dad, what's that mean? And they explain it to you. You start, later on in life, when you use the word, you actually can't remember where you read it, where you picked it up, but it
goes in the right place in there as well.
And I think that if you weren't big into reading, you'd struggle to, your sentence would be very, this is that, and that is this.
And I didn't do a lot of reading when I grew up, and I do find I struggle sometimes with words. Nowadays, I listen to a lot of audiobooks. Probably not the same in some ways, I read a lot more in terms of, I'm reading emails every day, and I'm reading articles online and things like that. I read a book now and again. I go through a couple of books, very rare. Sometimes I read my Bible, that's rare enough as well. I just glance, I do find though, you do need to keep your mind sharp in that way. And sometimes audiobooks don't put it, even though you're hearing the same story. I think sometimes you do have to, hone in the words. You do, because especially when I went back to college, I realised that I didn't even know how to. Now it's slightly different, but to research things properly and to reference things to even write an assignment,
which is tough.
Itself.
And there's a separate. I can ask you now to write an essay for me, and you just type away. But there's a certain academic style of writing. It's very reported. Like a lot of times they don't want you to say, I studied this. They want you to say this study that was carried out for.
I'd use a lot of TSRs. But also on the groups of on top of you really like growing up, we would have seen the same kind of movies and films, heard the same stories, been told the same, and I've done a lot of digging into a few of these stories recently as well, and a lot of articles I've come across, and I think that you pick up a lot more growing up. And this might I don't think it's just Irish culture, because I think these stories do play a big role. It's universal cultures. Disney puts them out, and Penguin Books put them out, and probably Evan might relate to them a bit. But there's something like one of the first stories I ever told is Hansel and Gretel, which is actually based during the famine in Germany. And the idea is that the mother and the father leads his two kids out to the woods because he can't support them anymore. He's getting rid of them so that him and his wife can live. And they come across the woman in the woods who is going to feed them everything. The house is made of candy, and she stuffs them with food. And it's actually symbolising there's two ideas I think there. One is that's the overbearing mother who's overprotective on her children. She's feeding them, she's keeping them caged up, unknown to herself. And eventually she's consuming them from the world,
Yeah.
The second, I think, the idea there is that it's a warning for kids about strangers as well.
Okay,
You know,
yeah,
not to
yeah.
wander too far, and people might seem nice. I think that's the two kind of messages implied in that. But
Yeah.
there's a lot of them. There's the idea of Aladdin as well, kind of a misguided boy, street rat. It's derived from the word genius, and it's constraint. That's why it's in the lamp. And basically, the idea is that's potential inside you, and you can wishes can come true. Anything can come true if you unlock your potential, and you end up becoming prince of the whole land because you unlock that. I think that's the idea behind it. But there's two other stories. Well, there's Peter Pan as well. I think it's kind of about sacrifice and maturity. It's actually a remake of a Greek mythology. Pan was the god of the wild in Greece, and he was the king of the Lost Boys, and his nemesis Captain Hook. So he's always watching Captain Hook, who's an adult who is being chased with a crocodile who's bitten his hand off. That's like the idea is he has a clock in the out, and that's time coming for him. Already has a piece of him, has a taste for him, and eventually it will consume him. So he actually goes so much the opposite way that he gives up the relationship with Wendy for almost for Tinkerbell, who's like the idea of lust and things like that. It's not a real relationship. He doesn't want to take on
the responsibility
because he sees Hook, in that way. And The Lion King and Pinocchio are actually very similar as well. They're the disobedient sons, who kind of neglect their father's rule and kind of get thrown in the deep dangers of the world. They ignore their conscience. One is characterised by Zazu, who keeps telling them to turn back. The other one is Jiminy Cricket, who is literally called his conscience in his conscience. But they both get lost and have to resurrect their fathers, the spirit of their father, to confront the evil and come back. So in Pinocchio, he goes to the belly of the beast, a whale, and saves his father. And that's in Pinocchio. And The Lion King, it's Simba when he looks into the abyss and sees his father staring back at him. He has to resurrect that spirit and go back and fight Scar. But actually, The Lion King is actually based on, I think it is.
Funny story, two kings, is it?
It's actually Egyptian. Yeah, it's Horus. I haven't really written down actually because I just took a note of it. I only read it there recently. It's it's Isis and Osiris. So Mufasa is evil brother is Seth, who's Scar, and the brothers both trick their older brothers into their death in both of the stories. And Horus is Simba, and he's to resurrect his father's spirit in the depths to defeat his evil uncle. Both the exact same story. It's actually a remake of that story.
Just for kids to kind of.
Yeah, it's the same principle, and because it's been carried around so far, and Scar is kind of the symbol of self-importance that holds us back from who we are, kind of. But I think it's interesting, that them stories carry on into Irish culture or anyone's culture. You grow up reading them, and you probably take a good bit in more than you think in them ways.
But see, what they do, and not many people realise, is they actually teach kids emotions. So you see Simba, and he watches his father drop, and he comes down to see it, and he's upset. It's kind of, one sense it's animals, it's teaching them about the animals, and they have feelings as well. And the other side is kind of teaching the kids, when something like this happens, it's sad, and when something so they're looking at Simba, who's crying over his father. That could be another kid in the class crying over someone related to them. Yeah. And they start tuning in to say, this is kind of like The Lion King. Obviously don't say it in their head, but some of their brain goes, this is what this person's going through now. This is how you need to kind of
adapt to it.
Yeah. So we'll teach them lessons like that.
There is as well. I think sport can hold these kind of values as well. If you play them as kids. Yeah. You imagine you're playing these kids, you're listening to your parents' lessons, you're taking in all this information, especially if you're reading books as well. But also there's always, they kind of took on the bigger evils by themselves. When you're on that pitch, your parents aren't with you. And sometimes there's always a bigger team to beat, a tougher team. There's always a bigger guy to tackle than you. Yeah. And you have to kind of say to yourself, well, you're out in the cold and the rain, you're against these monsters kind of in your head. They're bigger guys, they're faster. And you have to say to yourself, look, you need to look at yourself and take responsibility and say, look, I'm going to have to go for it, and I have to do it, and my team is depending on me to do it. You might be faster, you might be more skilled, you can find your attributes that will help you get over that monster, or over that mountain, or over that hill, that find. I think that's how you develop yourself. You're out of the comfort zone. I think if you start playing sports as kids, you push yourself out of the comfort zone a lot quicker, I'd say.
Yeah, and see the big thing with it is a lot of people get into their head and they say, You know, you can be the best person at this thing. You are the best person, and get that into your head. It's very important to note that somewhere out there is someone better than you at what you're doing, and you have to understand that, because if you're going out thinking, you know, I'm the best halfback in the county, you know, and all of a sudden your match on the other side is putting the ball over the bar at the other end past you, you kind of start going, this doesn't make sense. I'm supposed to be, and and then all of a sudden there's 10 minutes of you going, how is this happening? And the game is still going.
Yeah.
So you need to be able to accept that. Okay, my man, he may be quicker than me, but there's someone, he has a weakness. Everybody has a weakness.
Yeah.
You could be out there, you watch Dale McConnell, and he's swinging balls over his left and right, What's his weakness? His anger. You know?
Yeah.
You start triggering him, he's gone. Let's start pulling his jersey.
And everyone knows it watching it. It's like you can't control it. But like that as well, you say, you know, you might go down a few points.
Mm-hmm.
The guy is bigger than you.
Mm-hmm.
You're on a low point. It's coming to half time.
Yeah.
You're broken almost. But the game, you have to finish the game. No one's going to walk away from the game.
No.
You know. And life's a bit like that as well. You know, if you get knocked down, you have to just continue on the game.
Yeah.
You know.
But I could turn to my manager and say, you know, you come off half time and your man's have to stick in 4 or 5 points over, and I could turn to my manager and say, you know, put a sub on, I can't do it. But that's the same as going into your manager and work and going, you know, hire someone else, I can't do it.
Yeah, I'm taking a few days off.
You know, he's not going to go, okay, yeah, it's no problem, you take your time off, come back, and you come back, the first thing in your head when you see the picture, when you see that is, I was outplayed it last time, I was outdone by it last time, when I walked away.
And also that replacement could be better than you.
Yeah.
You know, like you could say, look, put someone else on, and they could, you know, skate rings around that guy and knock a few over. Now you're sitting on the bench.
Yeah.
You know, same thing at work. Mm-hmm. You could go off and take, you know, not saying people shouldn't take stress leave or anything like that. That's a different story. But you know, when you come against adversity in work, you have to rise to it, and you might have to go home and take a look at how other people handle that, and talk to a few people who are more experienced or older, or like parents and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And that might help you along. I do think you have to surround yourself with people, you know, who will help you, and you have to know who to go to advice for as well.
Mm-hmm.
I want to talk about food in terms of Irish culture as well, and mixing into food and sport, because we all would have been going to the pitch with an Irish dinner in it, which could have been stew or coddle, which are all kind of derived from the famine as well. You know, everything chucked into a big pot, serve everybody.
Well, you explain coddle to someone who's not from Dublin.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is, and like yourself with your friend, and some of my friends, looking at it, it's not very appeasing, you know.
No.
But eating it is different.
It's lovely.
Yeah, it is.
It's true. That's a good point, because it's not just Ireland; it's Dublin.
Yeah,
isn't it? A lot of people won't go near the thing. No, you know, I can't make it at home because I'm the only one that's going to eat. I'll probably go off before.
That's the thing. But well, would it? Because I remember the mum and dad going away for a week and say, you know, I left a big pot of coddle. They do it, it's gone. You know, that full slice pan is gone, and that big pot is gone.
It's butter and everything along with
lunch, dinner, supper, bowl,
3 o'clock, snacking around.
It's everything, you know.
But yeah, when you're raised with it, it's the most nice thing in the world. I think some people look at it and say, no. But you know what though? It's wholesome as well. You know, it's potatoes, it's carrots, it's onions, it's you know, it's meat. You know, it's
the restaurants and stuff. They're not real. They're not fried in oil. They're
not
boiled.
Exactly.
Yeah, they might even look the nicest.
And it's good carbs. Like you think about a good bit of veg and carbs and beef. You know, so like you think that. Do you change anything? Well, what's your diet now in terms of football?
Well, at the minute now, I'm on kind of a bad year this year, and it's just a mix of everything. Starting with college, and you're in work late, and it just kind of, and then I got an injury. I'm only out of the cast now. On top of it all, so my diet at the minute isn't great. But meet me there last year. It was past the dishes on days of training, and then midweeks. Then it could be mix of something. And I was doing gym. I was in the gym and I was doing small bit, so it was kind of when you're doing your porridge, and they do it, and it's at first when I started trying to eat the healthy foods, I kind of thought this is a mindset thing. I have to believe that the porridge is helping me, so I'm gonna turn it on. But it's a completely different. If I went to work and I didn't eat my porridge, I went and got a chicken roll for lunch. I was going to then sit down for another few hours, stand up then and go training. You're sluggish, you're gone, So, diet is a big thing for football, and it is. And it's a big thing for every sport, but you can't follow a diet for soccer to do with GAA. You're playing a winger, yeah, in soccer, and so naturally you're just going to be moving from left to right. The ball might not come to you for another 20 minutes or so. With GAA, you're always moving. Like how quickly that ball can go from the goalkeeper to full forward line, 3 passes.
Yeah.
You know, so you don't need to be a forward. Need to be explosive like a soccer player, but you need endurance. So you need to have a slow.
In a lot of ways as well, I think it's easier getting into that kind of sport when you have friends going into it with you. And I spoke about this the last time. I think it was tougher for me because we did 3 different primary schools. It's only a couple of years then we went into a secondary school.
Yeah.
We came from a very small primary school. It's only one. But I think that made it harder to play sport.
Yeah.
From a young age. You know, you were going in then and everyone was fairly skilled. Everyone knew each other. They weren't getting a pass of the ball.
No. There's discipline, and I find that a big thing with like everywhere you go, you school, you have a set of laws or set of rules that you have to follow. With work, there's a set of rules, code of conduct, whatever. At home, there's the same. A lot of people make the mistake and think they go down to the soccer field, and, you know, or the GAA pitch, and you throw shoulders in and you call this fella this. So, big thing I would have found with the club at Grange Alvin that we played for at that young age, and like it was. We don't care if you don't like Jimmy who stands beside you on the football pitch or Jimmy you can square off with. Take that outside the gates, that's fine. When you come in here, everyone has one jersey, and yeah, like I would have played with a few fellas up through the years starting at underage, so that may not have gone on with completely. But when you do come in, everyone has each other's back, you know, and everyone's working together. I've never been on the field where I got the ball and I turned and I went to give a pass and looked at a fella and went, I don't like him, and I turned.
Yeah.
It just never happened. And the same way when I'm looking for the ball, they've never turned and said, no, I'm not giving it to him, and he's hurting. It just doesn't happen. You just see the blue jersey and you know that you've trained with this guy for years. Doesn't matter, I don't even see your head. I just see a blue jersey and I know I'll give you that ball, something's going to come out.
Well, everyone's there in their spare time, but they're, you know, making the effort to be there. Like if you either want to be there or you don't want to be there. If you want to be there, you're part of the team to be there.
Yeah.
So where do you find the motivation though? I always found this a bit tricky as well. Maybe that was one side because my friends weren't getting up, but on a Sunday or Saturday getting up in the pissing of rain, the cold, to go play a match. Now I knew I wasn't texting any of my friends, but I didn't have a phone first of all. But my friends weren't coming to play. It was a lot of guys I didn't know were going to play. It does take it though to get it. Like you go wake up wrecked on a Saturday or Sunday morning, there's a match on. All you want to do is an extra hour kick. Who cares about the football?
It's very easy, and I found it this year. My motivation was down, and one of the big things actually starting near the end to bring me back in was you see a lot of the young lads coming up, and your position is starting to get challenged. I'm no longer one of the young lads on the team, you know, or I would have been. But like you wake up on that Saturday morning, I remember years ago, and mum or dad who were dropping us over would still be in bed, and I'd be up 2 hours beforehand washing my boots, getting my gear ready, and putting it on. You get kind of a buzz and excitement in your head, even if you know it will be tough. You're in your head and you're thinking, you're washing your boots in the sink, and you're thinking, what do I have to do today? What do I need to do to focus on one thing? While carrying all your other elements, you can't just drop everything. But you start tuning in, you go, you know what, with this person beside me, and I think we can do this and this, and then you start getting, that's when you start, like, you see the phone roller there. At home, I'd be rolling out on that.
I hate that guy.
Yeah, you hate him. But like it's the same with, and I find this with pain and things. If like I could sit down on the ground, I'm sure you can show a video. I can sit down on the ground, and I can put my resting leg on the ground, and the leg I want to roll on the foam roll, and I can force it and just run against it. But when I first got the foam roll, the one thing I wanted to do is if I can hit, and I always say it to anyone I know, if I can feel the worst pain, then it can only get easier. So the first thing I done was I anchored myself off the ground on my 2 legs, I crossed them, I pushed my leg into it, and I rolled on it. And
it's a tough thing to do. You start sweating as if it's a workout, and you tears roll out of your eyes sometimes.
But if that's the worst, you don't have to go. Then you know if I'm doing that for a month, and if I'm doing the other way for a month, and I know in my head I need to do the 2 legs. would you put yourself through 2 paints, or would you rather just put yourself through the initial front bit?
Yeah.
And then it kind of gets easier because your leg is kind of going, right, okay, yeah, it starts to get softer.
It starts to loosen.
Yeah, so that's what I do, and that's as you're doing that, you're thinking, my leg is going to be a lot looser. I'm going to be okay today, I'm going to give it my best. I feel 100%.
Yeah.
I want to go back again.
Yeah. So that's the importance of physio. I had a few niggle injuries at me the last while, and one was my knee.
Yeah.
And I'm doing the Ring of Kerry in 2 weeks' time, and my knee was at me when I was trying to do a bigger cycle there recently.
Mm-hmm.
And I found when I was running and cycling, big pain in the knee. And what I had to do was I went to physio eventually, couldn't do anything else, couldn't even walk after doing a 3k run, like a 20k cycle. 10k in, it was killing me. I tried to do 110k, did do it, and then my leg was rolled off for a couple of days.
Yeah. And
I said, I'm 4 or 5 weeks away from Ring of Kerry, which is 170 odd k, and there's a couple of hills in it. And she said, it's actually not your knee. This is where these guys are trained. This is
sports science.
You're saying that I'm saying it's on the inside of my knee there. I don't know what starts it. It's not actually my knee. It's 2 huge muscles that go down. It's huge muscles because I'm big. It's 2 big muscles that go down from your quad into your knee. And she's trying to diminish. She put her finger on the thing. I don't know how I didn't notice it. It was killing me. And she ended up doing a new technique called dry needling. It's like acupuncture. But the muscle's tight, so what she did is when she put a needle into it,
it's a spasm.
It releases it completely, and it was killing me for a few days. And she still worked it out. But then that was it. And I got on the bike and I went and did 50k, and I stood up on the bike and I was flat out and nothing afterwards. And then my only other injury is my shin splint. As you said, your muscles are so tight, your calf muscles, that they're actually pulling away from the muscle on your shin and on your bone. They're pulling the muscle away to come away from your shin. And then she's giving me all these stretches to do. And then for the first time in ages, I was able to do 2 runs this week. And my shins were a little bit hurting in the second one, but I've only started doing the exercises and she only started working it out. But the importance of it, I couldn't believe it now. She said, what do you want to be able to do? I said, I want to be able to run at least a couple of times a week without my legs calling me back, and I want to be able to cycle without any pain. She said, okay, we'll sort that out. And just like that, after 2 sessions, now I'm going back there, you should go and work on it more. But like that, the things that were at me for the last couple of years, if I'd just gone and put my trust in it, sometimes you're like, I don't want to do that, and 50 quid every time you go, or whatever it is. But you spend 30 quid and take away, spend 40 quid and take away between 3 hours yesterday. You know what I mean? Why not spend 50 quid on getting yourself right?
That's one of the big things I struggle with, and you can see the two supports here. I would have voted them playing a match. The white one goes on my left ankle, and the black one goes on my right ankle. Simply because I've rolled my ankles.
And do they come with the Bibles in there? To keep you from an injury?
Section 3. I think I've done my right ankle years ago, and then I done my left ankle last year. Now when I was in with him, I've been with Oxley Sports Clinic in Penal. I'd recommend it completely. Nice little drive out, but I know a lot of lads use it. But he had a foot specialist in on the day. Now you have to usually book with him, but he said, look, your man's finishing up. He said, I'll just get him to look. This is where the sports science come in. So he got me to walk, and there was a distance for me to use with 4 steps. And straight away, he says, this is your problem. He says, my feet are coming down. The balls of my feet are coming, the outside of my foot are coming first, and the toes are coming after. He said, now that's exaggerated, but so he said, what's happening is when I'm on the pitch and I'm running, the ground's not always level, so what's happening is my foot hits the ground, my big toe hits the ground, and my foot follows through, and I roll the ankle.
So it's like over pronouncing or something like that, is that what it is?
I don't know what way he actually says it, but that's the problem. And it's the same way as I walk, and I do notice I could walk 20 steps and walk towards you. 15 minute steps are all different. And maybe it's a conscious thing and you're focusing on your steps and you never do it right, but the way for me to correct that going forward is insoles. But they're specific insoles. They actually raise your toe up. I would have thought the other way around, they actually raise it up to train your foot to go properly. But there's some things it's like a tight cramp on your leg you can walk through. That's okay.
Yeah.
When you pull a muscle or something's wrong, you can't train through it.
No.
Don't even.
Some people say run through. Can't. And sometimes you do worse damage.
You do. Yeah.
You know, like I was told, if you run through your a lot of people say run through your shin splints.
Mm-hmm.
They said you actually develop shin fractures here.
Yeah.
You know, so you got to be careful what you're doing, or you write yourself off completely.
Resistance bands now, I don't go with me now. They're really good for training muscles such as your glutes. Because they say lower back, I struggle with a lot of lower back stiffness when I'm playing. That starts in the calves. That's one big muscle.
Yeah.
And it actually starts in my right calf and come up,
Because
cross over.
And I run, we used to get pain up.
Yeah.
Back, and it's kind of like
it starts being stiff and sore. You you feel like you need to release it. That's all it starts in the calves, and glutes.
I want to jump on to something else to do with Irish music.
Yeah.
With music.
Yeah.
Sorry, Irish
music.
Yeah. So between playing it and writing it, we've all played a good bit. Yeah. I've written songs. Yeah. Some not great now. So I think we don't do our original songs. Yeah.
No.
But you had a good one on that studio album. You had a few good ones with your bands. We've all played with bands over the years. I think that's a big Irish thing as well, and it's definitely ingrained in our family. Probably from both sides as well. But like we played in the Flats. I was only thinking this earlier on. You know, it's one of the only countries you can go to. You can go on holidays anywhere. But you know, a late session in a pub, it's one of the only countries who they end up in ballads. If there's no instruments, they'll still sing. You know, and everyone knows a ballad or two, and everyone gets into it, and everyone is quiet for it, and everyone claps for it, and you see that every pubs in every town all across the country. You don't really get that much. It is a kind of an Irish thing. Now you do, like some people might be thinking, oh yeah, you get that down with over down. Well, across the board, it's in every town. You know what I mean, in Ireland.
But if you see, you know, the really old ballads and the songs, and they've been passed. So say there's someone sang it in Kerry, not about maybe 100 years, but someone sang it in the pub in Kerry, and then someone transcribed it, and they've done a version of it. You even find that now. But you say we go to a pub in Killarney, you know, we come along and we hear someone playing a song, and we go, you know, it's actually not bad. And obviously we YouTube it now, but it's still the same method of listening to someone else play it and bringing it, and then eventually someone might hear us play it and say, oh, that's a good song, I learned that one. And you look at Bees Wing or...
Yeah, YouTube is good for that, because I think the forgotten songs can be, you know, you see a lot of older people playing songs, and you can bring them forward, and people might say, you play that, and I'll say, oh, that's actually such a person, you know, Richard Thompson for it, you know, or whatever, you know. A lot of newer artists can redo it, like Christy Moore did that song, kind of brought it in, and people started looking at the originals. But I think, even, like, I think that's kind of spiritual side of things as well. I use music an awful lot, like, for inspiration, going from, you know, like even to do a podcast, I said last time, you know, listen to a few songs or whatever like that, and it gets me kind of more focused on what I'm doing. Running, a certain playlist that drives me on a bit better. Obviously, you know, chilling at home, having my own place for chilling. It's kind of lower key, not heavy, you know. But I listen to music the whole time, you know, like I can repeat the same songs. But everyone's like that with music. Everyone finds. You might get a lot of requests off people, but we've gotten it when we're playing music. Everyone has their songs that have helped them when they're growing up, or they went to, and they've got the right space of mind for it. You know. And we play not just Irish music. We do a lot of, you know,
alternative rock and stereophonics,
American country, even folk. You do a bit of Garth Brooks and a bit of Cash we play and stuff like that. It's good to carry it on as well, give people a break from, because we play the Flas and that. And like, I like playing along with Irish culture. But sometimes as well, it's nice to get a break in between and do a few songs that everyone can just sing along with as well. Apart from that, you know, music is universal. But when it's carried through, you know, anyone can play. You can play anything on a guitar, really, you know.
On the point even of the flat, I've seen that my girlfriend obviously plays in the flat. There's two different sides of it, you know. There's us playing where we played in the tent and the campsite.
Absolutely.
You look at them competitions. Now a lot of people would say it's diddly-eyed music, you know, usual. And you kind of, and to be fair, I would have been thinking that myself and kind of going down. But I actually sat there and listened to the dedication and the training and
speed, accuracy as well.
Is something else, you know. I was just looking at the senior K competition, and the place was jammers, big tent, like a circus tent, the size of it, jammers, and everyone is here looking at these bands. It goes on for hours. You don't get bored, you know. You're looking at different instruments. You're looking at someone playing the harmonica, and all of a sudden they'll drop that halfway through a tune when the music's still going, they'll pick up another.
Yeah, it's like writing an orchestra piece. And you know the violins and there's a lot of songs I go back to even at this age, even as a younger fella. You know, when listening to teenagers like some Ronnie Drew songs, or there's certain songs that have a bit more Irish music in them. They're great songs, you know. But as well, I think with music, it's why I never liked. We used to play on stage at a certain time, and I was never shy about playing it, but I never felt as though the spirit of music was alive in the place. You know, you know when you're set to play at 7 o'clock or whatever. You know, it's not. It's forced. More so, and I didn't like playing for a few bob. Not that I was happy enough to get a few bob. But I preferred when everyone was in the room, where you can feel it in an Irish bar, and people want to play and want to listen and want to join in. And they play it for that. Otherwise, you're sitting up there by yourself. No one's paying attention until they get a few jars in them.
Like, there's nothing worse than we've done it before, and you're sitting down and you want to play. Someone says, 7 o'clock, you know, we just kind of kick it off. At 7 o'clock, there's 4 people sitting opposite the table, and one person says, "Well, when are you going to play that song?" And next all the guitars come out for 4 or 5 people, you know, and then 2 hours later, 20 people walk in, and you end up starting your set list again. And someone goes, "I'll play Wonderwall," you know, and just an example, and you say,
But if you hear it, listen to music, and you're in the humour for it, grab it out, and that's, I think, the whole Irish culture as well, you know, rather than nothing wrong with people playing up on stage. If you love doing it, and go for it. But just myself personally, I find it's a spiritual thing where I'm in the humour for it, I'm in the mood for it. I'll play better, I'll be more into singing it, you know, rather than sitting there sweating about what song I'm playing. It is work. It's
pressure, stress.
People can sometimes play. People forget this. You can play for hours through the night. People can have a few points and have a laugh. You're there playing away. People aren't into it now.
And the problem is, one song that you thought would go well, and it doesn't go so well. You get a bit embarrassed, and you're going into your next song, and you're kind of sweating. You're thinking, "Is this the right song now? Because do they want something else?" And you start looking at your set list, and you start jumping songs, and all of a sudden you're a mess.
Yeah, two of us have been in that situation.
Yeah.
So jump on something else then as well is faith. Would you say you're atheist or agnostic?
I was actually only looking up this before. To be honest with you, I'd say I'm borderline. And the problem is, I haven't found something that I have been able to believe. I haven't found something that I can link to not to say that if something, I have to see the practical side of it. I had this conversation with one of the guys in work before, and he kind of said, you know, example, do you think you and your girlfriend met through you were drawn together, and that's now this is a different faith obviously, but were you drawn together and that your path in life was already laid out? I don't think. I think we put in the effort ourselves and we made it work. So no, that's not. I believe in like for you, for example, you said to me, I'd never knock it, because in my head I'm actually thinking, you know, good on it, that's what he believes, and I kind of long for that. I want to believe something, but I can't just train my mind to believe something on the basis of a theory.
It's true as well, because a lot of things, like I'm going to talk about a lot of things, and I have said a couple of things here, why, like it's evidentially, like whatever. I don't think someone talking to you will ever do that. You have to go through, you know, like you couldn't sit down at a table as an atheist and someone convert you there and then, but saying logic, maybe some people.
Here's the Bible.
It might work. Yeah, but like if you had a lot of things like this is why I don't believe in this, this is why this couldn't be. But you're not going to change anyone's mind, really. I think that sometimes, really, a couple of years ago, I had very little interest in the whole thing. I think though as well, it comes, maybe not to everybody, but in my life anyway, it comes sooner or later. Sometimes it comes knocking a bit, and there was a time where I was kind of like, this has become very prevalent in my life, so I have to dig into it, like you do with everything else, like you do with work or something you're researching. If I'm going to go down this road, I really have to know if there's actually basis behind it. You know, like it says in, I think it's Revelation 3:20. It says, "I stand at every man's door and knock, and if he opens the door, I'll come in and eat with him." And I think that sometimes when I think of that sense, I think of someone that's sitting there knocking, and you can have the radio on loud, or you can have the TV on loud, or you can, you know, have distractions of life getting there, or it's some people can have their fingers in their ear deliberately you know, or it might come at different times, you know, you might even hear it, or want to hear it. But I think that is important as well. But so sometimes things can get in the way, or if you're deliberately not listening to it, maybe you don't want to think, you think that's the same lifestyle. I don't want to change the way I'm living now because I might have to do that if I look that way or whatever, you know.
Well, I find, even say one of the lads in work, we do have this conversation, and he come up with an idea for something. So, example that he was talking about airplanes. They've now developed this thing, or are trying to bring this thing in where the cockpit and the base of the body of the plane, they separate from the wings and they come down on parachutes. It's to do with emergency landing. Okay, so he was kind of saying, isn't that great the way this happens, you know, when the people are brought to safety? And I kind of said to him, so what happens to the engines? Like I said, they obviously just drop it over the water. No, drop it anywhere because it's emergency landing. So I said, so what happens if that engine comes down and hits a school full of kids, you know? But the people on board are saying, yeah, but I wouldn't want to be brought to safety to find out that the wing came and hit a skyscraper, people in offices, you know? And he kind of said to me, well, why do you have to be so negative about it? But it's
not important to see the outside.
Yeah, I don't want to destructive, but it's the same with faith. If you said to me, you know, I was in a car crash and just me by myself, and somehow when I hit the car, I veered off, and somehow I hit a tree, but the tree only hit the passenger side. There was no one in it. And thank God I was saved.
Could be coincidental.
My side would be coincidental, but you're obviously saying, you know, I was being watched. Someone was watching, which I would love to believe, and I wouldn't say to you, get a grip. You know, I'd say, you know.
You can't deny there's coincidences that happen, you know, and people can get near calls and lucky. That's life, you know. You can get lucky, you know. You can't chalk everything down. You have to be intelligent about it as well. I think, you know, a lot of things, when I start digging into it a lot, I think in some ways, sooner or later, it's one that you kind of have to take a side on. I read a lot of things where it's one thing you can't be on the fence about, but you can be for quite a long time. And then maybe sometimes you come along and you have to say, like, am I saying this, that, and the other? So I dug into a lot of stuff. I dug into neuroscience. One of the first things I dug into. And I saw this write about this thing called the God helmet. That's a nickname on it. I can't remember the exact name, but I'll probably put up a slide on it. What they're doing is they're trying to treat depression in the early 1900s. And they put this helmet on, and they're trying to get the electrical nerve endings, you know, in monitor people's brains to see if they can delve down. But they discovered that the cortex of your brain is folded a certain way. Okay. But no two people have the same fold. Even twins, identical twins. Nobody. It's like fingerprints almost. So they couldn't do that. They needed something that go down deeper. They eventually, through technology, they were able to get this helmet that had a magnetic pulse on it. Okay. Like headphones where we're now have actually a magnetic frequency pulse. Okay. But do no damage to anybody. This one was kind of stimulating certain lobes of their brain. Okay, yeah. But people get very afraid doing it. A lot of people were thinking there's people in the room with them, and when they were having they switch it off, and then what they use it for is, you can see a TED talk on this where this guy is in a wheelchair, and just by moving his eyebrows, the wheelchair goes this way, and he can actually, you know, it signals from his brain, and he can do it with software on his computer. He looks at it, and it types. You know, so this is like, you turn on lights in his house and all. So it's kind of like scary. It's like a, you know, what do you call it when you
power of mind?
Telekinetics. Exactly.
But that's even just on another point, which obviously we're not going to get into, but big thing I think with this world is utilization of technology. And it's, you see it in your job, I see it in my job. We do things because, but like you see that people are able to send their wheelchair from way by moving an eyebrow.
It's crazy. It is. But as well, what they discovered this is actually a field now that branched off called neurotheology. Okay. Because they discovered that the difference between atheists and theists was that when they asked someone to think of their God, or say a prayer, they activated the frontal lobe of the brain that the atheists never activate. So they're actually using a portion of their brain, an extra portion of their brain. So they're trying to dig into that. Book on cosmology, and it was all about the universe growing from nothing, which I found hard to wrap my head around. And I was looking at there's a few types of evolution. One is stellar, one is planetary, one is chemical evolution, and even that, how we got uranium from hydrogen and all. It doesn't add up in a lot of ways. And planets spin different ways, even though the Big Bang is a swirling dot. So there's a law called the circumvation of angular momentum, and it's basically like a merry-go-round. If you've everything particles on a merry-go-round, they'll all break off and spin the same way. But 6 moons will spin the wrong way, and it doesn't add up that way. There's one that the moon, the age of the Earth, the moon is we're losing the moon every year by 2 inches every year, based on the tides rising, and it's the same. It has been the same for as long as they can date back, which would have meant the moon would have collapsed into the earth less than 1 million years ago, because it would have been spinning so close. Because as well, when you pull something closer, there's an inverse square law. The magnetism of both pulls it, the rate actually increases. So they said, well, that doesn't hold up. In a lot of stuff, historical, kind of looking at scholarship, old historical scholarship, when I looked at Christ as well, because that was a different idea as well, that the followers came out hiding 3 days after they claimed he was risen. And they're the only group in history who went to their bloody deaths, never recanting their story, and they were murdered and killed for it. And it wasn't just them he appeared to over 500, and the first Gospels were written 6 years, were completed 6 years after his death. So it was very close, similarities. But I think, they also there's I know there's hundreds and thousands of gods, and a lot of atheists use that line, But when you think of 7 million in the world, and you break that down to how many are adults who claim a certain religion, 2.5 billion claim Christ as their God, which is more than half the adults in the world, including atheists and other religions as well. Carries on, just that one name carries on an awful lot. So I thought it was worth a lot,
Well, I look at it this way. You're talking about the beginning of the earth and the world. I can't wrap my head around it that it was a god that put 2 people on a planet, and that was it. Just doesn't. I just believe that what happened was, and this is my own opinion, I would never force on anyone. I think the problem is because the world was here when we came into it. There was no books or so nobody wrote down how the world came, and I just assumed that the religion became like something. Let's make a story about how it was, and that could be, and I would stand corrected if it could be proven. I absolutely would. But the same when I'm growing up, and I've had this conversation with people. If I'm having kids or a family, I'm not going to take away if they want to believe. That's, and I'm, like I said, I do everything with christening, confirmation, communion. I'd never take them out because that's their own belief. Not everyone has. And I would hope everyone has the chance to make up their own mind on it. Which is very important.
They say that some people claim man made God, some people claim God made man. Where they stand on, and it is difficult to wrap your head that God made human from dirt. But the science books, which went around either, which kind of says that human came from dirt. But we can't trace it back. There's no. All we can do is say that the universe had a beginning. Everyone's nailed that down, and everyone agrees with that. There's a cause, but no one knows where the matter came or the energy came from that exploded. Because if people say God's not eternal, how can we say he's eternal? But then your matter had to be eternal to get the whole thing going. It's a hard one to clash. And I think the only reason I delved into it so much about it was because a few experiences I had that became more prevalent. I'm probably not going to go through that now because it's a long story. I think you probably know an awful lot about it. But I had to face it.
But the beliefs that you may have probably half had at the time, they fitted with what happened to you. So that's where your drive was. I haven't had them experiences, so I don't know. I haven't got a spark to say. Well, this is not. It has to be something.
And that's what I mean. Sometimes it comes to you at certain different stages, different ways. It comes to different people in different ways. So even we're looking at Chiron. it's hard for me to know, is the love for him just a chemical reaction in my brain?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know.
No, I don't think so. You know what I mean? Like, it means so much to you. Like, there's intrinsic value in his life.
Yeah.
I hold such a high regard.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people go about as if they believe less in the science, that it's all dirt. They kind of hold their morality. It's hard to derive morality from science, because why doesn't everyone just use everything to their advantage? In a lot of ways.
When you look at it, like a lot of animals, not them all, but a lot of animals can make it serious with several.
Yeah.
We're more of a population or kind of an entity that don't. We pick someone, and I do the same. I don't just think that I'm chemically. This I feel from my family chemically, and that's it. I do believe that in my head there's feelings there, but I wouldn't wrap that
Chop it down, yeah.
Religious,
it's just a force.
It's me. It's personal to me.
Yeah.
And it's my own kind of same as your own code of conduct in your own head. But your life is.
Yeah.
This is who I am. This is the people I care for. This is what I'm going to do with them.
Yeah.
And that's how I think you kind of plan it.
Yeah, it's true. And I think it fits in some way. Sometimes it fit in with me when I found out the kind of facts behind the evidence for mine, maybe a bit better in my way, where I can kind of chalk this down to maybe because we're in the image of God, maybe that's why we are more, that way inclined, or but yeah, absolutely. And as well, talking about just the spirit side of things as well.
Yeah.
One thing big with the GAA is the team spirit that also carries on into, also helps you excel when you're called on in other things. When you're saying that, you get the ball for your split second decisions make a big difference. People have to have that trust in you.
Yeah.
The team spirit also, when you go into work as well. You're the spirit of kind of, you have to hone in your own skills to be better as a team player, basically.
Yeah.
So you can't forget about yourself and fall in the team, or you fall into that crack where other people in work might move on to a better job, or other people in the say football team might move on to a better team or a better league, and you're left behind because you played with the team but you never focused on yourself as well, your own development. I think that's where it ties in a bit, both sides, isn't it?
I'd be big. Put it this way, I'd be big in the sense of every small action has a consequence. So, example, if I'm running up the field and I'm in my head and thinking, do I take a solo or do I kick it to someone?
Yeah.
If I take the solo, and then as soon as I look up and someone takes the ball off me, the whole thing is shifted. Where if I just gave that ball to someone, the momentum is still there. Like even work, if I drop a pencil and my colleague beside me picks it up, now he might slightly do something to his back, but not knowing yet. A week later, he goes to pick up something, and my back becomes a grouch, and he sits at home with his girlfriend or his family, and he starts getting aggravated with them, and that's how I think every little, no matter how small, every small thing you do affects somewhere in your life.
Yeah, and like I said that the last one, like throwing a stone and the pebbles, your actions, into the river, your actions, the ripple consequences, the ripple effect. It's absolutely true. But I think as well, kind of being at a young age, facing that adversity plenty of times gives you plenty of preparation for adversity in the workplace, or in, of being in the uncomfortable position. You're used to being uncomfortable, and it helps you develop yourself. But you have to remember to upskill yourself. Like you're doing your college through work now, which I did a few years ago as well.
Yeah.
And you're doing very well with it. And at least you'll come out. You're still with your team, but also you're developing yourself, so you're better able to take on the challenges or anything that might arise in the future.
Yeah.
I think it's good as well, and that's what ties in, because life isn't a scheduled game.
No.
And at least in a scheduled game of football, you can see the challenges coming. You know when the ball comes, it's going to happen sooner or later within a certain time frame. But you have to be ready for it to do these things that develop you, because life can hit you with a bad situation when you least expect it. When you're on top of the world, when you're even at your lowest point, you think you'll go, you get hit now and again. So I think that's how it ties in. If you're training, you're eating well, you're part of a team, you develop yourself, you go through your knocks, and also you're carrying on your culture and experience reality, and how you tie it together with everything like that.
Yeah.
Well, fair play. Thanks for coming on. And I'm going to leave a clip of a few photos of you playing the GAA and playing music and stuff like that.
I'll play it.
That's episode 5 wraps. Fair play. Thanks for that.